Welcome to Dynamics of Dialogue, your one-stop shop for peace and love on the airwaves, a safe space for people of color and our allies. Join us every week as we have real dialogue with people going through real life. Your dynamic, your dialogue. Come get some. Welcome to Dynamics of Dialogue. This is your host, Ty Davis, and I am in the studio with Yvonne Lynn-Bedrza. She is a licensed professional counselor of Melanin Chat and Chew. Say hello to everybody, Yvonne.
Hello. How are everybody?
Yay, I'm so glad that you agreed to come on to the show today. I really appreciate it. For me,
absolutely.
Yes, for me, of course, when Yvonne is my soror. I don't really talk about being a sorority very much, but
yes.
But through these connections that we develop, I think it's they extend beyond that, right? And so Yvonne's a mental health professional, and I'm somewhat of a practitioner as a certified peer specialist. And the space where Yvonne and I connected is mental health. It's just that space. So I listen to her and follow her. I see what she's doing, and I think it's so amazing. And I wanted to bring what she's doing forward so that our community can be made aware of it. So Yvonne, you want to talk to me a little bit about what you've got on the horizon? You talked about having a retreat and a couple of things coming up.
Yes, absolutely. So let me just correct something. I am a licensed professional counselor, resident in counseling. So yes. I haven't gotten that thing yet, but it's coming. It's coming in the fall, so I'm excited about that. So I wanted to kind of correct that one, just a little piece of that.
Okay.
So I got so many things, Ms. Davis, that I'm doing. I think my mind is all over the place, but one thing that's my baby that I love right now that I'm doing is Melanin Chat and Chew. Mm-hmm. And this concept came to me in the middle of the night, actually. And I'm a spiritual person, so I believe that God speaks to us anywhere. And I was actually asleep, and I woke up and had this idea. And this idea came about because I was so vexed in my spirit about how women of color have been treated in this America, and of course, Black and brown women, diaspora, even in America, around the world, how we have been treated, how things have gone for us, the many hats that we wear, all the things that we go through. And I wanted to bring us to the forefront and to help heal us, to help bring us back to who we are so that we can be good for our families, so we can be good for our spouses, so we can be good for our children. So that's one of the things that I'm working on right now.
Wow. And that is so beautiful. That's what attracted me to you, this work that you're doing, because as a trauma survivor myself, I feel that pull so heavily, and the need for us to heal and learn how we can have healthy coping skills. So I love to see that. I'm excited to see it. And I want to ask you a little bit about what kind of ways are you looking to deliver your healing ideals to the community through Melanin Chat and Chew? What kind of events do you have?
Well, we started in December of 2018, and, some of the things that I come up with are different luncheons to just have open dialogue, bring persons like psychologists, women of color that are psychologists, women of color that are nutritionists, women of color that are certified, mixed fit instructors, or anybody that, can come and speak to women just honestly and openly about what's going on. And so I have these different programs that I put on. I had a psychologist to come in about 2 or 3 months ago to just do a roundtable discussion about depression and women of color. We've talked about, where people are in their lives and where they want to be. We do exercises. We come together and, do that. And we come together and do our nutrition classes. We come together and just do a whole host of things just to get women together. Because you know what, Ms. Davis, what happens is when people come together, they find out, you know what? I'm going through the same thing. Oh, my God.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. And how refreshing is that? How refreshing is to know that this person is going through the same thing that I'm going through. It might not be exactly, but, this person understands, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I think that's refreshing.
Yeah. Yeah. When we create space, I know so many people must see on social media. I say it all the time on my show. I use the term holding space. Holding space is listening to someone without judgment, understanding their experience. You're just there, and you're just holding all critical comments. That's holding space for somebody. And you find when you just do that, you see how much you have in common. It's freeing. It's freeing. It's so beautiful, and this is how we create community.
Absolutely.
I believe that. Yes, Ashe. I love that. Yeah. So now you talk to me a little bit about this retreat. You mentioned that you had some plans coming up for some things going on. Talk to me about that.
So in the fall, I have a program that I'm trying to put together. There's a lady out of Richmond, Virginia, who is a psychologist, and her main focus is trauma and the Black community, and the trauma that we experience and PTSD. And so I'm putting together a program for her to come in to speak, and that's going to be sometime in the fall. It's probably September, October, and then I am putting together a retreat, a kind of conference for Melanin Chat and Chew next year. It's probably going to be in June or July. And right now I have a travel agent that's putting some things together. I've contacted some different people to come in and talk about mental health, and talk about nutrition, and talk about health and wealth, because we need wealth as well, business, and I would love to have you there, and, just talk about all these things, that's going to help us, to help us build our families. But also the idea is to bring women together, because sometimes we need a break. We need a break. How many times do we have, know that we wear so many different hats?
Yeah.
We do.
Mm-hmm.
We wear so many different hats. And we take off one, right? Ms. Davis, we put on another one. We take out one, we put on another one. And sometimes we don't know how to release. We don't know what that self-care looks like. And so we're going to be talking about that as well. So I'm excited about it.
Oh my goodness. This is why I love connecting with people. People always say that, the internet isn't real, Facebook isn't real. Of course it is. Even if the person is pretending, it's still a real person on the other end of the line that you're talking to. And we just don't realize that we have the ability to create our own experiences. Inside of this, I really enjoy connecting with other people who have the same passion as I do. Because once I became aware of the impact of trauma, and after hearing about Nadine Burke-Harris's work and learning about the ACEs scores, it became so... It was like my eyes just opened up, and I could see it everywhere, so to see so many people doing work to heal this ourselves is really beautiful.
Well, I think it is needed. It is time.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at our history, okay, what happened back in the day? When things, you had somebody that may have had a mental illness or intellectual disability, or, something happened in the family. What did they say to you? Don't say nothing, right? Mm-hmm. Don't say nothing. Don't talk about it. Or they put the person in the back room and all these different things. Did that really help our people? No, it didn't help us at all. It didn't help us at all, because now we're dealing with the repercussions of those things. Okay. Now we have to go back to square one, and we have to rebuild, and now we have to understand, and now we have to get a clear view of what our life is, and say, okay, now now that I know better, what do they say? Now I can do better in my mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my. I think that's why I'm here. I'm on this earth, and I think that's the thing for all of us. I get so excited is that we have to know why we're here and what our purpose is. And my purpose is to make sure that people understand self-care, understand who they are, where they come from, what they need to do to heal themselves so they can be good for other people. Right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And that's so important, because I mentioned to you before that I'm a CPS in the state of Georgia. In the past, I've worked in the recovery movement, and part of the hallmark of that recovery movement is that it's person-centered. And in order for it to be person-centered, you have to be in touch with yourself, right?
That's right.
For you, if you don't have the opportunity to visualize, your ability to accomplish something. And one of the things that I can say as a person who has been inpatient a few times is that the mental health system as it is feels very restrictive. It's difficult to visualize wellness and healing when you're disempowered from everything. You have no control over anything.
Right.
Inside of this.
Right. I would agree. I would agree with that because I know that now I'm waiting on, this licensure, right? So that I can, say that, yes, I'm an LPC because I'm a resident, but I've been doing mental health, oh my gosh, since 2001. Okay. Started out as a case manager, worked with people with, mental health, intellectual disabilities, people with HIV, people in, at-risk youth, in the prison system. I worked in, so many different capacities. So my, what I'm doing right now is like trying to get all that information, right, out. But I'm restricted in so many ways to get that information out because I don't want anybody to be hurt. Number one, because I know what my ethics are. Number two, I want to make sure that if I say this, I'm certified to do this. I can do those things. But yet on the other end, I should be able to help my people. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
So it's like I'm torn between the two. And so I do understand where you're coming from.
Well, see, this is part of what I believe with Bawassa Black Media. Excuse me, the allergies is what got me going. But part of what I believe with Bawassa Black Media is that, there's so many of us that are so impassioned about this work, but it's so much work that needs to be done. It's not something that we can do alone. But if we come together inside of a collective that's not just reflective of people of color, but also the people that are our allies. Because the truth be told, as enslaved Africans, we've had allies, non-Black allies, since we landed on this soil.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so make space for that. Make space for them and include them in the economic growth. Allow them to use their privilege in ways that can assist us. They can go into places and access things that we can't. But I believe that we can pull it in together. You get strength by being in the choir. You do. You get more strength.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
Absolutely.
I definitely, we get offline after the interview, we'll have chances to, talk about ways that we can collaborate and make this happen, because I believe it's so very important. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'm ready.
Yes. So when you talk about, you've mentioned, this vast range of experience in their background, ranging from HIV to working with and in the prison system and working with at-risk youth. How do these do these elements play out in the work that you're doing now? Do you have targeted programs for people in those populations now?
It does and it doesn't. I think that every position that I've had, has really just prepared me for what I'm about to do with Melanin Chat and Chew. I think that what I do now, because I work with New Life LLC, which is a company in Newport News, Virginia, and I work mainly with a population of those with mental illness in assisted living facilities. And so, of course, some of those individuals are older, our older population. And, you know, I've worked with the older population, you know, when I worked in other, you know, capacities. But all the experience that I've had, you know, it prepared me for that, but I think it's preparing me for bigger things. Because I have worked with so many different populations of people. Because when I do Melanin Chat and Chew, I will meet women from so many different backgrounds. Women that may have HIV, right? Women that may have HIV and have a substance abuse addiction, or they may have HIV and a mental illness, or they may have, you know, it's just so much. And then I can pull from all the resources that I have, you know, going through all the positions that I've had over the years to help these women. Yes. Which I think is a blessing.
It is. It is. And I'm grateful that you're doing, I mean, I am. It inspires me to see that you're doing this work in this way. I mean, how does it make you feel? Does it give you a sense of satisfaction, a sense of peace, a sense of resolve? You know, when you see someone...
You know, it makes me have a sense of love that makes any sense.
Ashe.
And because I love to see healing, and I love to see laughter, and I love to see smiles, and I love to see, and I've always been that since I was a child. And when you grow up and you go through life, you really don't understand what that is. Now I know, you know, being at the age I am, I can't tell you what the age is, but now that I am at the age I am, you know, I understand it. So when I have these programs and, you know, somebody gets that aha moment, or they come out and they're better than, or they get an understanding about who they are, that gives me such joy. Because now I see that what I am doing, what God has put in me, the seed that He has put in me, is coming out. Because it's not about me. It's not about me. And, you know, I think a lot of times people be like, oh, you know, I did this and I did. No, you didn't. You didn't do nothing. Okay? You didn't. Wow. You were given the ability, right? We all are given the ability to do what is necessary. We are here for each other. And that's just what it is.
Right. And we have to be here for each other. You know, I think part of what drives me is that I see that we have so much need for healing, right? And I don't mean to offend anyone, because I just don't practice traditional Christianity. But, you know, we live inside this Western culture that's not really focused on the internal person. Very external, very ego-centric, you know, focused. So when it's a stressful society, you know, there's so much, all these traumatic things that our children are, ways that our children are growing up with. You know, there's not a really good way inside of this system that we're in to cope with it outside of looking into spirituality. Because I know you mentioned that you include that in your work. So outside of looking into spirituality, outside of, you know, pulling in people together really cooperatively, because these are really not things that we can't transform a society as individuals. You know, it takes multiple levels. Of course, if we transform ourselves as individuals, we have advancement. But then there comes the value of connecting together. And as you spoke about, working with other women, you know, there's value. I sat and I went to a cultural competency event that was centered around the humanitarian crisis, and saw this Asian woman speak and tell her story. And her story resonated with me so deeply. In my spirit, my fist went up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because I'm her. I felt like I'm her. And it didn't matter that our skin color was different, you know, that our cultures were different. So I think there is a real beauty in us getting out and growing and stretching and doing the things that you're doing. So talk to me about what kind of plans you have for your future. You know, aside from this, what kind of plans do you see for Melanin Chat and Chew, say in the next 2 years, 3 years?
You know, I would like to see, and I know it's going to happen because I'm a spiritual person, so I speak things. So Melanin Chat and Chew is going to, start with, some YouTube videos. We're going to be, going around talking to women and start to have, other branches in other states. That's my thing, because I would love to have Melanin Chat and Chew in each state. And I want, it to be a thing where, we have this big conference and you see all these women all across, even, starting with the men, and then it just branches off and it just takes off. And to me, that's growth, because then you know that you're connecting. That's my thing, to start to get it in other states.
Yes. To start to get it in other states. Okay. So within the next year or two. Okay. Well, that's awesome to see. That is awesome to see. I'd like to know, throughout this process, it sounds like it's challenging, working with people that have dealt with trauma. So it's kind of two-part question. How do you manage your self-care, and what keeps you going through it?
Okay. Well, the first part, how do I manage my self-care? Let's talk about that first. And I'm going to give you a little background so I can answer that question. When I was younger, in my 30s, I was doing all kind of things. I was, on the Boys and Girls Club, doing, things with them, and I was doing things with the city, and I was doing things and this, that, and the other, and I didn't have self-care. Okay, I got up to about 300 pounds, and I was just a wreck. I didn't love myself. I didn't do none of that. And so I had to stop. And I had to stop and say, you know what, I'm miserable. I don't love myself. I don't care for what's going on with me. And so I had to change that. And so to answer your question, what I do is I do things that I love to do, period. I give people what I can give them, and the rest I say no. If I can't do it, I don't mind saying no. That's just what it is. Right. If I go to work and they tell me 9 to 5, baby, I'm going to give you 9 to 5. Then I'm 9 to 5. I do things that, like, I love hiking and I like the outdoors and I love live bands and I love, to watch movies and I like to, I'm writing my book right now and it's just so many things that takes me in a place that I can reflect on me, which is so important because you got to know who you are. You got to love the good and the bad about you so you can be who you are. So that's what I do. So I got to interject here because I'm trying to figure out how I got this far in this interview, and I'm just now hearing about this book you're writing. Can you talk to me? My bad.
Yeah, what's going on with the book? Let's get some promotion. Come on, this is what this is all about.
Yeah, I can't tell you what the title of the book is yet.
Of course, yeah.
But I'm writing a book that kind of highlights some of the trauma and some of the different things that I've went through in my life and how I came out of that, but how to look at it, not as woe was me, but this is what I did, but this is how I understood it. This is what made me get out of it, and you can do it too.
Yes.
So it's kind of like you understand what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's self-help. And so I'm writing this book right now, and sometimes I get writer's block, Lord have mercy. But I'm excited about it. I'm excited about this book.
I'm excited.
I know
you too. You're about to set some people free.
Hey, all right now, let's get it. Let's set them free.
You made me laugh. We're about to get some people. I this allergies. I'm so sorry. You're about to set some people. You're about to set some people free with this, because if you just look, like all the accounts I follow on, not all of them, but I follow so many on Instagram of these Black women that are engaging in self-care, Black men that are engaging in self-care, loving themselves, talking about acknowledging trauma in their lives, and they're at a pivotal point where they just don't have the how-to. Right. They just need they need the safe space. And we're creating this safe space, so this is like monumental. And I'm so incredibly, I know I didn't have anything to do with it, but I'm so incredibly proud of you that you came out of that place and you began to heal yourself and go on this journey, and you're bringing that forward for other people. That is so beautiful. And I'm so happy to hold this space with you. I really am.
Oh, well, thanks. I'm glad to hold this space with you. It's awesome. I love it. Yes. It just makes my whole spirit happy. So yes. I'm excited.
And that's wellness. This is what healing is. When you can, have that real love. I know exactly what you're talking about. Love. I think we tend to limit love and think about it in a romantic sense. But when you have the love of humankind, you get into spirituality and begin to advance and elevate your understanding and acceptance of the world around you. As you understand the connectedness, it generates that love in you. And that's when you can really live life with some peace and happiness in your heart, even when rough things are happening. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I had to ask you about the book. I had to kind of, step in there because, you tried to sneak that book in there past me. So, I may be a little old, but, I catch a couple of days. But the second part of the question, to get back to it, was what keeps you going, through all of this? Is it really that it's this love in your heart, that it just sustains you? Because it almost sounds like that's exactly what's keeping you.
It is that, because I have moments where I'm like, why am I doing this? Because, small beginnings, right? Mm-hmm. We all know small beginnings, and we know that, sometimes you only have one person following you, or you only have 10 people following you. So, I have to remember that this project is bigger than people following. You understand? Mm-hmm. It's bigger than, if people like it or not. You understand? It's bigger than that, because when you're able to help people heal, that's it. Yeah. That's it. Yeah. And so I think that, when I do different programs and when I talk to different people and they tell me, oh, that helped me, or thank you for, just that bit of information, then I think that keeps me going, because that I know that what I'm doing, I'm going in the right direction. Right. So, yeah.
Yes. That is so beautiful. Listen, you have really inspired me. I have enjoyed this conversation thoroughly. I look forward to connecting with you through Boasso Black Media to see how we can build and spread our ashe in the community together. Yep. I am looking forward to that. But before we wrap up, I just want to ask you if you have some parting thoughts that you'd like to leave with our audience.
I do. One of the things I want to leave with the audience is self-care is important. Regardless of being a mother, grandmother, if you're a CEO, down to the person that maybe sweep the floor, whatever, you go through so many different things. You need to stop. take 5 minutes, of your day and just focus on yourself for just 5 minutes. And you will find that when you start doing that, that time will add up. And at the end of the day, you'll find yourself, or at the end of the year, at the end of 2-3 years, you're spending more time to heal yourself so that you can be a better person for whoever is in your life that you love. So self-care is where it is.
Yeah. Awesome. That is the most, and even myself, I just had to be reminded of that I got so busy, focused on the healing and healing other people and helping and creating this space that I forgot my own self-care.
There you go.
Yeah. So everything you're saying is just resonating with me so deeply. Listen, I thank you so much for coming on. Can you share your social media contact information so people can find you?
Sure. Sure. So if you go on Facebook, you can type in Melanin, that's Melanin, chat, and of course, then letter N and chew. You also can go on Instagram, and it's the same thing, Melanin, chat, and chew. And then I have an email. If you want to email me, if you have any questions, anything like that, you can email me at melaninevolution2019@gmail.com. And that's all together. That's melaninevolution2019@gmail.com.
Awesome. Listen, once again, I thank you so much for coming on. I've truly enjoyed the conversation, and I'm sending you guidance and protection for this journey, this task that you have to complete, because this is huge, it's big, and I just want to make sure that you're safe and well on this journey. So I'll leave off with this. My slogan of I say it every week is to be intentional with your plans and manifest your best. I share, everybody.
Thank you for listening. We hope you enjoyed our show. Tune in every Sunday at 3 p.m. at OfficialDofD.com. Follow us on social media at OfficialDofD. Your dynamic, your dialogue. Come get some.